Welcome to the Jaden Show. I am Jaden Cornelious and this is my show. I'm very excited to be here with you today because I'm going to introduce you to a lovely guy from the USofA. If you like synthwave music, then this is definitely the show for you. And if you don't like it or don't know what it's about, then stay tuned because you are going to love it by the end of this show. I'm going to be introducing you to artist Xico Peligroso in not too long a time, but I think we should go and quickly check out one of his songs and one of his videos. This is called Born to Change. This is Xico Peligroso. How amazing was that? Now, for those of you who have seen the Jaden Show before, you know what we're about to do now. For those who haven't, I need you to just sit back and relax for another couple of minutes. We're going to meet Xico really soon. But now we're going to a Jaden Show commercial break. Hey guys, I wanted to take this opportunity to let you know about the Jaden Show commercial break starting now. This is amazing news because now every single week you have a couple of minutes to be able to advertise something you want to advertise. So if you have a business, if you have an event coming up, if you have a new album, art gallery, or anything you want to particularly advertise on a show, this is your chance to do it. March and April 2024, the advertisements are free, so please let me know. Get in touch to me on Jaden Cornelious at AOL.com. It will be wonderful to hear from you. If you are a charity or a charitable organization or a non-profit and you are advertising something with regards to that, then always your advertising is free. So let me know. You will need to send me between a 1 and 2 minute video around that time, if possible, something that you want to advertise, and I will fit it into this spot. Get on. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Okay, kids, I'm not going to leave you hanging any longer. Let's go and meet this week's The Jaden Show incredibly special guest, the amazing Xico Peligroso. Xico Peligroso. Señor, bienvenido a mi Jaden Show. How are you, mate?
Oh, gracias. I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. I've got to ask you about Xico Peligroso. You sound like you're kind of like some, like, I don't know, cartel member, or you got like a whorehouse in Tijuana, or tell me a little about it.
Yeah. I love the way you say it too. It's funny if I ask Siri to play one of my songs, that's how Siri says it, also with the big accent, which is just awesome. Yeah. So Xico Peligroso is Xico was my nickname when I was little, and I added the Peligroso when I was 18 and feeling dangerous and misunderstood and all the things that gay 18-year-old boys feel. And so, that was, and I borrowed the spelling. There's a great Chicano artist named Chico Gonzalez, and he spells his name with the X. And
okay.
The moment I saw that, I was also like 18. I was like, that's so cool. I'm taking that. So, that's me. I don't know.
That's where it came from. Amazing, mate.
Yeah.
Are you of kind of like Latino descent?
No. So I'm a Californian, and I love California. I love California culture, and California, was Mexico, and and still sort of has that legacy. So I think by being a native Californian, and being surrounded by really, so many rich cultures in California, but I think the Latino culture, and specifically Mexican culture, is so present and vibrant in the history, and so I feel a kinship, I think, with Latino culture, but it is not my culture.
It's interesting. Like I went to Florida, so obviously a little bit different. But I grew up in London, never heard any Spanish. I mean, the closest we got to Spanish was kind of maybe a Ricky Martin pop song in English, and he said "un, dos, tres" in the. Yeah. That's kind of it. And then I went to Florida, thinking it's all Mickey Mouse, it's all that, and it was just like everything was in Spanish. I was like, "Rah, man, this is really prepping me for my life in Mexico."
Yeah.
In fact, I saw more Spanish in bloody Florida than I did in Cancun, to be fair. Quite interesting.
That makes sense, honestly.
And I was thinking maybe they should change, like, obviously you just reminded me about it, California used to be Mexico. Maybe we should change like the name of the Gulf. Rather than the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, we could put Mexico, but the EX in brackets, because obviously it's like ex-Mexico, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
So we should do that. That. But anyway, so going back to, like, obviously you're living in a very vibrant area, huge Latin community. What was your childhood like? What music was you about? What kind of surrounded you back in the day when you were mini Chico? Chiquito. I don't know.
Yeah, so my dad was in he's a semi-famous musician in the 60s, a band called the Neighborhood Children, and they were psychedelic 60s rock.
Okay, cool, man.
And so that was my dad. And my mom, she was younger than him, and she was very much like an 80s woman. Like she loved 80s music. And so I grew up hearing a lot of synthy, new wave, 80s pop, but also having this sort of wild, experimental aspect that came from my dad. And so, well, I mean, the 80s were pretty wild too. I think I love any kind of time period of music where people are just kind of pushing and being weird. And I think we're kind of in that right now again, where there's just this like this push to not do things that have been done already. I love seeing what people come up with. But yeah, so I think if you listen to my music, the 80s inspiration is very apparent very quickly.
I love it. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I think the 80s had the best music. I love the analog synths, and I love all the splashiness and the reverb and the drama. I mean, there's a lot of drama, I think, in 80s music, and certainly in the aesthetic. If you watch videos, not my videos, but proper.
It was very theatrical, videos. Big hair, crazy colors. Like I was coming out of
shoulder pads.
Amazing, man. And for someone who doesn't really have shoulders, that was a great time for me. I was kind of coming out, I was kind of just entering my teens in the 80s. And at the time I was a very shy kid, so I didn't really feel the 80s. Now, I sing like 4 or 5 times a week, and I'll probably say 90% of the songs I sing are from the 80s, because I'm thinking, I love this music now. I think because I was in it and surrounded by it, I was quite intimidated by it, didn't feel it at the time. But now it's, a bloody amazing time musically.
Yeah.
So a little bit different, 80s and psychedelic rock. Did you have a leaning one way or the other? Was like your downtime like, right, I'm going straight for psychedelic rock? Or was it like, I'm going to listen to, I don't know, Pet Shop Boys or something? I mean, like, where did you go first with your music?
Yeah. I think what I get from my dad and what I get from rock and roll, specifically the 60s, is the sort of experimental qualities of that, and not so much the actual character of the music. Like I don't really use guitar. I rarely use live drums. It's almost always a drum machine. They sound wise, I'm squarely like 80s new wave in particular, and then I think it's been sort of updated. I loved the pop music of the early 2000s, Britney and Christina Aguilera, and then of course everything Madonna's ever done. I think I borrow a lot from her too, especially like the attitude. I think Madonna brings this really, I don't think she gets credit for it, but she brings a punk attitude to pop music. It's very much rebelliousness.
And she's a badass, isn't she, quite frankly?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She's the girl your mother, if you were that way, your mother would have said, you stay away from her. You do not go anywhere near number 12.
My mom did say that.
But really?
Madonna was banned in our household.
Really?
So I didn't get into Madonna until I was a teenager, and I could successfully sneak around. My mom would say, I don't want you listening to that whore.
Wow, that's crazy. I was too wussy. I was kind of like a little bit purer than Madonna. I was just completely in love, because I'm obviously a different decade. So I was just in love with kind of Olivia Newton-John. So I kind of missed the beginning. I loved Madonna, but I kind of missed the the craziness. I never became a devoted fan because I was still kind of hanging on to ABBA and Olivia Newton-John right until my fingers bled, basically. But Madonna, just fucking legend, mate. Just
seriously. I mean, we could talk about her the entire time. I have so much respect for her. I think, I mean, she's very well awarded, very well celebrated, but still, I think doesn't get anywhere the credit she deserves for the impact that she's had on music, on gay rights, on women's rights,
absolutely.
I mean, just I'm so grateful. I think about, like, she was, you know, at a time I was growing up in a very conservative household, very conservative town, and she was the only voice I knew of that was reaching me, that was saying, "You're okay. You're beautiful. Like, you're good." And so, such a lifeline at a time. I know it's not easy to be gay now, still, but, like, I mean, in the 90s and the 80s and before,
you weren't gay in the 90s and the 80s.
Yeah,
if you were behind closed doors with shut windows and curtains closed, and it's quite interesting how everything's changed so much. I remember, like, I was in a pop group in the 90s, signed to a label, and they were said, "You do nothing that even whiffs that you possibly might be gay." So even if you met, like, I don't know, you was at a musical or something, and you know, and you knew someone else from another pop group, and you're like, "Oh, hey mate, how are you?" Gave him a cuddle, you know, just to say hello. Oh my God, you couldn't do that. The fear on your friend's face that they might get photographed with, like, another guy hugging them was intense. And now, quite frankly, you're just not down and bad if you're not gay, or at least have a gay friend. It's just really such a short space of time. It's completely swapped. But the bigotry and the discrimination is still there. I don't kind of get.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've been making progress, and I'm so grateful for the generation that came behind me that made it possible for me to live as free and as out as I do. And I know that we're making it even safer for the kids coming up behind us.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's still a dangerous world for queer people, and I think particularly right now, for trans people and gender non-conforming people, it's just like the crosshairs are just on them, and it's so unfair and awful, and
it's all getting a bit messy right now, right?
It really is, and so I mean, we just got to keep going. We can't stop, and we can't leave anybody behind. And I think, you know, sorry to get too off topic, but I've heard a lot of gay men in particular be a little too willing to throw the trans people under the bus. Like, they feel like they're, I don't know, getting in the way of gay male progress, and so and it's just not right. I think we have to hold on to each other, and we have to stand up for each other. And if you don't understand the trans experience, go find out. Go talk to some people. Go find some people, and get to know them. And because the next few years in particular are going to be really, really hard for those folks in particular. So
I think it's kind of, you know, I kind of think it's sometimes even bigger than that. You know, sometimes I kind of look at how everything's going, and we are kind of labeled to death. I feel more oppression because I have so many different labels now, or maybe not the right ones, or maybe I'm kind of in between labels. So, like, I'm not a cub or a bear, I'm not an otter or a twink, I'm not all these, you know, that I kind of think really we need to be a fucking human community with all its color, with all its difference, with all its beauty, with all its knowledge, with all its diversity, and really just fucking protect the shit out of all of us, like everyone, rather than looking at, well, that's that community, that this community, this is this community. Just like, we're just a community, and every single person is different to you. So you're going to hate on one person because their differences, then you've got to hate on your mother and your father because they don't have They're not the same as well. And it's like, we need to love and respect each other and this fucking planet that we're on, because it's,
Yeah.
we're kind of so many different movements right now. It becomes almost, I don't know, I think it's almost, people want to piss people off. I think,
Yeah.
where we should just be loving on each other and getting us through this shit show, to be fair. No matter what you are, where you identify, where you've come from, what your background is, your language, your age, your religious, we should just be like, no, man, we got to sort this shit out. We're all brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
and we've got to look after this bloody planet as well. It's just, no, I completely get it, man. It's just got to be a lot more loving going on, quite frankly. It's very difficult, though, with so much.
Yeah.
Again,
I'm hopeful. I think that challenging times have the potential to bring out kind of the best in everyone. And so I stay focused on what is good. And, just don't lose sight of what matters. There's so much intentional chaos right now. I think some of the people in power, they want us to be scared. They want us to be confused. They want us to feel overwhelmed and feel like we can't do anything.
Yeah,
so
they want to isolate us and make us into, very, very scared little individuals. But I say, if we embrace everyone within our community, we're fucking strong as anything, mate. Kind of like, it's crazy. Does that, the way things are at the moment, how does that affect your music? Does that come out in your lyrics? Does it come out in your passion? How does what's going on now? When you're writing something, are you specifically writing because it's making you feel good in a particularly chaotic time, or are you writing something? No, man, I've got to give a message. I need to, how does it affect? How does this current kind of political, spiritual, whatever climate affect what you do as an artist?
Yeah, we've been in this a version of this climate for a really long time now. It kind of ebbs and flows in terms of its intensity, but really we're going on like 10 years of fascist energy boiling up in America. I think for me, it's really important. The songs that I write, they always try to tell a story, and particularly, I always want to tell a story through a queer lens. I think I want our perspectives on things to be seen and to be accessible. I try to boil it down kind of to its essence so that it's, I think, hopefully easy to digest and go, oh, okay, I feel like I understand that experience now, or at least I have a sense of it. I'm very purposeful on being, the lyrics. It's very clear that I'm a gay man. I think, and it's relatively safe now for me to do that. But I think when we were growing up, everything was coded, right? You had artists, and they would, you knew they were gay, or you were pretty sure they were gay, and they would sing lyrics that were definitely coded for us, so we could hold on to it. We could make it about us, and so they might sing a love song that doesn't include like any pronouns anywhere. Where they're just I love you, baby, and so you're able to make it your own. I think there's particularly when I was getting started, there was enough of an opening for me to say, no, I'm always going to be very clear about what this is about, and help wedge that door open even further, to make it safe for queer people to be heard and to see themselves in the art, looking back at them. And I think right now I'm definitely, I think there's like two lanes. Well, there's more than that, but like there's like queer joy and there's like queer protest. And I'm writing some songs where I feel like I'm successfully doing both. There's a song on an EP I put out last summer called Community, and the song Community is that. I mean, it's just this sort of like punk, dancey punk story of getting gay bashed, essentially. I mean, it's and the response to that, which is like, I'm not worried about it. I'm safe. I've got people looking out for me, and I really just feel bad for you, Mr. Attacker, because you're missing out. You're missing out on something that I think queer people understand in a way that, I mean, maybe not just queer people. I think people who have a minority experience in whatever country they live in, whatever culture they live in, if you develop a way of appreciating your people, your safe places, that I think people in the majority miss out on. They don't know that type of family. I mean, I have a family in my friends that I don't know that people outside of that community, I don't know that they can understand that. Wow. How beautiful that is.
That's amazing, man. I want to take you back a little bit further as well. So you've gone from like an avid listener of Madonna and all things pop and 80s and psychedelic rock. When did the journey begin of you becoming an artist? How did that start and how did it progress?
So I got started in high school. I had a good friend, and somehow we ended up in a class that had no teacher, and it was just us. And we called it music theory. So there was a choir teacher, and she got a grant and got a bunch of really nice Korg keyboards. And she didn't know how to use them. She didn't know what she was going to do with them. Somehow my friend got word of this and made this arrangement where him and I would be in this class called music theory, and we would unpack this equipment and learn it and teach it to her. So, yeah, so that
was student becomes a teacher. That's the metaphor for life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we didn't know anything about, like, we had both been in band. I played clarinet, played oboe. He was a saxophone player. So we had like an idea of music, but neither of us had ever played keyboard. We didn't know anything about writing songs, but we just, for an hour a day, we had this studio to ourselves, and we recorded an album. I mean, terrible stuff, but we recorded it, and we were both in love at the time. He had a girlfriend, I had a boyfriend, and so we recorded these kind of goofy love songs, and we shared them with our significant others. And his girlfriend loved it. She told me how much she loved it. My boyfriend told me he hated it, and he played it for all his friends, and they were laughing. And,
oh my God, nice.
Yeah, he's not around anymore. But I sort of took that as fuel to become really good at it.
Wow, amazing.
And so,
I would have cried and just forgot the whole thing. That would have been me. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. So my career is based on spite.
Great fuel.
Yeah, and what was great is, so him and I, we lost touch for probably about 15 years, and then I ran into him at a bar one night, and we reconnected, and I was like, hey, I'm ready to forgive anything. Like we can be good. And so I said, "Oh, hey, could I send you something I've been working on?" And so I sent him one of my more recent songs, and he was like not expecting it to.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I finally got, not that I needed it, but got the validation from him of like, says, see,
love it, mate. Congratulations. So great, fueled by spite, depression,
yeah.
and look at you now, so amazing.
I think that's my if I can call it a superpower, you know, without sounding like a douche. I think that's my superpower, which is turning bad experiences into something that feels good to me. And I think putting music out is just a way to like repackage an experience, rebrand an experience, and take it from something that hurts and make it something that is good. Yeah, I mean, when I play something back, even if it's like a sad song, you know, it just feels good. It feels good. It's like, yes, that's out there now. Instead of me keeping it in here, now I've taken it out of my body.
Exercise that theme. It's the best therapy, mate. The best.
Yeah.
No, amazing. What would you say? Like, you know, obviously you're doing kind of synth pop at the moment and that kind of vibe. Do you still listen to that when you're kind of having your downtime? Like, if you're in a really, really busy music week, do you go and listen to the same kind of genre music, or like, fuck it, man, I'm listening to Enya? Like, how does it roll with you now? Like, you know, now it's a business. Now it's like a progression. Do you still stick to that, your same listening kind of genre?
I don't. I mean, when I'm really deep in recording, I don't want to listen to any music. Because I get exhausted. Because I do all the mixing and mastering myself as well, and so I mean, just like playing it back for the 500th time, it's like at the end of the day, I don't want to hear any other noise.
Just bird song. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. The sounds of my dog snoring. You know, that's what I want. But I honestly don't listen to a lot of music that sounds like my music. I think that impression is so seared into me that I don't need additional. But you know, obviously, I make music that I think sounds good, and so you know, when I hear similar sounds, I usually like that, you know, that music. But I think a lot of times I'm listening to what people are doing today, and there's so much really interesting music coming around today, including a lot of good synth pop. Do you know Ali X? She's kind of a like she's definitely a synth pop girl. She's a little more experimental, and then this last record is like full on new wave. It sounds like it was lifted from the 80s. Like she fully committed to the bit, and it's amazing. And I love listening to it. But it doesn't really give me new ideas. I think in the way that listening to somebody like FKA Twigs or Empress of, or there's this French band I'm really into right now called Les Impératrices. They give me new ideas, and so I get inspired, and it gives me somewhere new to take my sound instead of just staying in the same spot.
You listen to that music on your downtime where you're like, I'm not listening to that now because at the moment I don't want any new ideas. I just want to relax. So
yeah. And sometimes it feels like it's not a good idea to have new ideas. Like sometimes it's like I need to finish this, and if I come here with a fresh perspective, I'm gonna want to keep tweaking it. I'm gonna want to keep changing things. I think what's one of the hardest things about being a musician is knowing when to stop. You know, when the song is finished, because they're never really finished. Like you can always, every time I play something back, I'm like, oh, there could have been a tambourine right there. You know,
and also, and every listener is going to say something different, like that hi-hat was just a little bit too up in the mix, or right, okay, look, well, I'm happy with the delivery. That's it now. This is what you're getting. Yeah. It just is never ending, mate. Do you like when you do have downtime, do you go and do something completely different, like take your dog out for like 4 kilometer hikes, or do you kind of just like straight into TV, video games, or something like that, just to completely block up any thought of any music?
It sort of depends on what's going on. I mean, honestly, something that I love to do is have a couple of drinks and watch music videos, and that's my like weeknight downtime. Is like after dinner, put some stuff on, and it just sort of helps keep me excited about music and about art. But when I need space, I love a long walk with my dog, and he loves it too. So we'll go for a long walk. He's an explorer, and he gets bored. You know, there's only so many different ways we can walk around our neighborhood. He gets bored. He lets me know. This morning we got into an argument about it because he was like, we're not going down that street. We go down that street every day. But no, I won.
I had the lead. That's what it was.
I also had the treats. So,
okay. Yeah, you won. Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Or maybe he did. Sometimes I feel like he's gaming me. He's like, oh, I'm gonna be fussy right now so that he'll give me some treats. I think
They know how to play, mate. I've got 10, and I'm kind of now decided that I'm probably their pet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they all chat together out in the garden. They're like, how are we going to completely manipulate that little white boy? We're going to sort it out. Like, they know what they're doing. There's no stupidity with them at all. So, yeah, I get that. When did you, like, how old were you? Obviously, you've made your little album that your ex-boyfriend was, not very nice about. When did you start to kind of get the vibe where you started to become Xico Peligroso? Like, when did that part of the journey take place?
Yeah, that's a good question, because when we got started, my friend and I, we were calling ourselves Darkroom Danny, which was a lyric from a Scissor Sisters song that we both just thought that was great. So that's what we called ourselves. Then it was really like in my 20s that I moved to San Francisco, and I didn't have anything else to do. You know, I was new in town. I was lonely, and it just became an outlet and a way to pass the time. And I'm so thankful for a small group of people who have been here the whole time, and I would share stuff and they would tell me it was good even though it clearly wasn't. And I'm so thankful for them, because without that, I don't know that I would have gotten to a point where I produce stuff now. I know that I'm not for everyone, and I know that I'm not the best, but I feel confident in what I produce. I feel like I can see, I've been at this now 20 years. Like, I feel like I can see 20 years worth of improvement. And I'm at a point now where, I can get on a college radio station every now and then. I can get on a playlist every now and then, or on a blog, and it tells me that, yeah, okay, this is not in my head. That I'm not. I am producing at a level now that meets people's minimum expectations, at least in terms of quality, and so it was really slow going. but there was always something that kept me pushing ahead. I think, I always want to know what the next challenge is. Like, okay, the first album that I did by myself, which was called Valid, and it's not available anymore. I took it down because it was, I didn't want people like stumbling upon that and that being their first impression. Right. so I took it down. But that was a big goal for me, was like, okay, produce an album completely by yourself, and share it with people. Up until then, I wasn't really sharing. It was fairly private. I would share with, like I said, with a couple of close friends. But it was important to me that the reason I named it Ballad was my motivation was, I want to see this thing that I've created as valid, regardless of what anybody thinks about it, regardless of if it's successful, if it's not successful. I'm going to tell stories from the heart and know that that's good enough, regardless of what comes of it. Regardless if someone laughs at it, someone tells me they hate it, I'm going to feel like it doesn't matter. And then from there, I just kept wanting to push it further and further, and then it was like, well, can I book a show? Can I start doing live shows? And then so I had my first show on my 30th birthday, which tells you how long of a process it
journey
was.
Yeah.
And then then it was, can I make a music video? Can I get on a playlist? Can I get on radio? And now it's just, I'm in the middle now of a massive album that I wrote most of it like 4 years ago, and I'm still working on it and putting it out bit by bit, but it's like a 30-track album, and that's the goal right now. That's the reach, is like, can I do this massive project?
First double album, loving it.
Yeah.
Amazing, right?
So I'm that's what's keeping me going right now.
And obviously friends are friends, so they're going to say they love what you're doing, but it does have, your stuff is fucking good, so I mean it, obviously. But the family, mum and dad, mum who banned Madonna and dad who was in kind of, what feedback do you get from family?
Yeah, so my dad didn't hear any of it. My dad died, and there was a song on that first album, on Ballad, about my dad's death. And my dad and I, we didn't have much of a relationship, to be perfectly honest. And so the song that was on there was it was called Think You'd Agree. And it was basically like, I wish things had been different between us, and I think you would agree with that. Like, there's no hard feelings. I think he would have wanted a better relationship too. Like, but we didn't have it. But my mom, she's funny. She she loves it. She tolerates the swearing. But there's a song I put out about a year or two ago that was sort of, I've written a lot of songs about my mom, because she's a source of a lot of
inspiration.
Stuff. Yeah. But there was one, so she came to see me play, and afterwards she said, like, oh, that was so great. She's like, but people just want to dance, so like maybe you don't need those slow songs, like, people just want to have a good time. I wish there was more dance music. So I wrote this song called Quiet, which is like, one of the lines like, can you dance to this? Can you dance to this? Because it's like, I know I don't know. I was just channeling that feeling of like, Mom, like you're supposed to love everything I do. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to put conditions on it.
No, I feel you. My mother was like, I made 3 albums. My mum was like, I don't listen to them because you're bleeding depressing, because I was doing classical crossovers. So everything was like really intense kind of power, kind of classical ballads, like Josh Groban kind of vibe. So I was doing a lot of that. And then my mum came to Mexico a couple of years ago. And now I do whatever I feel the need to do. Like I was seeing, Nessun Dorma, and I was seeing, Dua Lipa, like in the same set. I just do anything I enjoy. It's something for everyone. Mariachi or ABBA, do you know what I mean? I just do like all of it.
Yeah.
I remember I was singing, and my mum was like, even with the Spanish song, she was kind of, saw a little bit of rhythm going on. And then I sung Private Dancer by Tina Turner because I love it, and I just wanted to sing it. Fuck it. And my mum was there going,
what? To that song?
I don't know if it's to the song or just me bloody singing it, but I was like, yeah, I loved it. All the men come in these places.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting. She was like, no, your other stuff is depressing, but I don't like it when you do that kind of pop. I'm just like, oh, I might do a cover of Your Quiet actually.
Yeah.
That's all right. So what's happening right now? So obviously you are crazy ass busy doing a double album and releases at the same time. What is going on at the moment, and then what are your plans for the future? Like where's Xico Peligroso, tu viejo en el futuro, señor? What's going on?
So yeah, I'm trying to wrap up this project. It's called Seasons, and it's become kind of the story of my 30s. It's a lot about time passing, and this transition from being a young person to being an older person. Like
you said older, as I'm 20 years probably older than you. But
I think it's sort of like, it feels like a second puberty to me. Like in your teenage years, you're going from being a child to being a young adult, and now I'm going from being a young adult to a full of and with that comes a lot of things. I think there's some sadness, of times that have passed, of goals that haven't, dreams that haven't been realized. There's outrage at the state of the world and how hard we have to fight for what should be just very easy things of just coexisting together, sharing this world together. And there's confidence, there's swagger. There are songs where it's just like, you have confidence. Well, we don't all, but I think you have confidence in your 20s.
Less people to impress.
Yeah, it's a different kind of confidence for sure. I think it's a more genuine confidence. It's an earned confidence. It's like, when you're 20 and you walk in the bar and you're the hot little thing there, you might feel pretty confident, but it's really not based on much. It's sort of like you don't have all the battle scars and the
youth, right?
Yeah. And I think coming into my 30s, and now I'm getting closer to 40, it's like, I have a confidence that feels earned. It feels like, I fought hard for this. I worked hard, and I feel steady in a way that I didn't before. And so there is music sort of celebrating that of just being like, there's a lot of gifts to getting older, and I think I think there's a point we reach where we get afraid of getting older, and I go back and forth into that place. And I try to just focus on the gifts of getting older. And, you know, if I could go back to being 21 and know everything that I know now, then I'd be unstoppable. That person.
Yeah.
That
I'm in my 50s, mate. And it's like, there's so much more stuff you can write about, like the fact that rigor mortis kicks in if you sleep over 6.5 hours or you do more than a 2-hour car journey. I mean, there's like so much more you can write about, how everyone's dying around you and you it's just, you wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, age is a gift for the tough-hearted, mate. You've got kind of, it's really weird. I've never grown old before, so I'm really kind of like, I don't know if I'm struggling with it or just don't get it. I would love 20s. I would never go back to, but I guess because you're in your 30s, it's nice to go. I would go back to my mid to late 30s. Now they were the best years.
Yeah.
40s sucked. 50s not been great so far. Way more grey hair, but I'm determined to kind of turn that shit around. Quite frankly, but loads more songwriting information, like great stuff to kind of pull from, you know. It's gonna
totally. Yeah, I think it's a good way to look at it, of like, you know, for artists, you know, I think artists just have this drive to take their inner experience and make it external, and so you can see then all these stages of life, all these things that happen to you, the good and the bad, it's all just material to create from. And some of my favorite songs come from some of the darkest, worst experiences, you know. And so it all seems worthwhile, you know. And
once you get another choice, if you wake up tomorrow, you're doing another day, mate.
Yeah.
And fill it with beauty, fill it with magic, fill it with creation, and fill it with positivity as best you can, right? So, because it is a bit of an interesting situation as in the world at the moment. So we need more. Everyone, don't write songs on AI. Stop it. We need experiences, real people. Yeah.
And I will add to that. So I've used some AI tools, not really in music, but in graphic design, and it's just not satisfying. You know, when you look at it when you're done, it's not that it's not good. You know, it doesn't look good. It's just you look at it and you don't feel that same pride.
The connection's gone.
And that's the whole reason I do this is to look at my work and feel good. You know, feel like,
and to put you down, not in a euthanasia kind of way, but I mean like on paper and on scores and stuff like that. You know, it's like I'm exercising all the experience, all my traumas, my excitements, my parties, my pain, like right up until this day. All that energy, all that you goes into your art, you know. So to go onto AI and say, right, I'd like a song about two people who fall in love when they were 18, and if you can make it ballad in the style of Tony Braxton, you know, that's it. Yeah, little bit. We've got to grab on to these. That's why I'm doing my show. Need to grab on to these artists. That's what it is, man. So future, apart from double album, what's going on? How do you see? And by the way, for the Spanish speakers, when I said viejo, that's wrong, it's viaje. Sorry, I mixed up my old with my journey. But yeah, so how do you see your future journey for Señor Peligroso?
Yeah, I haven't thought it through. I think
one day at a time.
Yeah, so something I would like to do. I had this, another dream that I was working on was to do a little tour. And I know that I don't have the draw for it. It doesn't matter. Like to me, it's I want that experience of being on the road and playing to strangers. And so in 2019, I was putting a tour together, fall of 2019. It was going to be spring of 2020. And, spring of 2020 was had other ideas. And, you know, in a way, I was sort of relieved because it was a much bigger undertaking than I had planned for. I mean, I don't know anything about booking shows. And trying to sell myself to a venue. It was difficult. I was making progress, and you know, I would have done whatever I was able to cobble together, but there was definitely a part of me when I couldn't do it that was like, oh, thank God.
Then it's not your fault, right?
Yeah.
It was the universe at the time saying you're not ready for this.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think now I've had a good long rest. I know a lot more. I have a stronger catalog than I had 5 years ago, and so you know, I think I may pursue that again. Putting together a little, just a little West Coast tour,
nice.
And just to you know, I think a lot about the future me that's old and looking back on his life, you know, and I want to give him as many nuggets of success and love and experience. Like, I just want to, when my body no longer cooperates and I can't go out and do things, I want to have a rich treasure chest of accomplishments that I can look back on and say, yeah, I did that.
Keep walking that dog, mate. You've got another 50 years in front of you.
Oh yeah. I know. I'm not saying that's coming anytime soon, but I think a lot about, you know, 90-year-old me. I plan to live to be at least 100.
Oh no, I want to be gone way before then. Leave and wanting more. It's always been the motto of my life.
Yeah, that's a good approach too. I just want to get as much out of this life as I can get. Man.
And I pray you do, dude. And I'm not a praying boy, but I really hope you do. You're a very talented man. You've got a great attitude, and it's been really, really amazing to talk to you. But I'm not finished yet. I want to know, what has been the highlight of your career so far, apart from this show? Don't feel under any pressure to mention.
Well, you took my answer.
Well, you know, you have to think quick.
You know, I think the most exciting moment for me was the first time I got played on radio. There's a radio station out of, I think they're in Mexico City. They're definitely in Mexico, called Artifactor. Do you know them?
No, I've not heard of them.
So that was my first radio spin, was Artifactor Radio. And I knew the show was coming on, or they were going to play it. And my partner and I, we were living in Seattle at the time, but we were back in California for a wedding. And the contrast between Seattle and California is stark.
Off the scale, right? Yeah,
and so we were coming from this gloom, wet, dreary place. We get to California. We're going to a friend's wedding. We rented a convertible. We were being silly. So we're driving down Highway 1 in the central coast of California. It's one of the most beautiful places. We're in a convertible, and my song is playing on the radio, and I'm with my partner, and it was just like, yes, this feels good. This feels really good. Yeah, so I that's what comes to mind for me.
That's a really cool one, actually, and I hope there's many more opportunities like that as well. My English is rapidly disappearing, but my Spanish isn't improving. That's the skill.
You're just going to be mute.
Was that? Yeah, right. And a lot of people would probably be pleased about that, to be fair. A lot of people out there praying, they've got prayer meetings, the whole lot, saying just shut Jaden up. So I think the future, there could possibly be, because, you know, I do a mean Pet Shop Boys, a mean, you know, there was a lot of good electronic music back in the day. And and Depeche Mode and all this kind of stuff. So I think maybe 25, 26, there may be a collaboration in need, mate.
Yeah, you let me know. I'm always down.
Well, when your album's finished and everything's done and you've had a bit of downtime, we'll touch base and say, right, let's work on something. That would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Should do that. It'd be super lovely. Xico Peligroso, thank you so much for your time, for your creativity, and for your passion, and for coming on the Jaden Show. I am very, very happy that I've met you. I love your music, and I wish you all the love and success and support. People at home, you've met him, you love him, you've already listened to one of his tracks anyway. So, you know, there is now no excuse that by the time you finished your Snickers bar and your cup of tea, that you need to be following this man on all of his social media. You'll see running along the interview a whole plethora of social media where you can find this guy. However, he's more more prominent on, what would you say, Instagram and YouTube?
Yeah, that's Instagram is the easiest place to actually find me. But even then, I'm elusive. I try to make myself available, but I hate being online. I hate being on.
It kind of kills creativity, to be fair, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I get it,
but yeah, Jaden, thank you so much for your time and for inviting me here. It was super fun to talk to you and get to know you and hear about all your adoption center that you run out of your house.
It's not even adoption. I just bloody adopted them and didn't let them go. That was it. It was like, it was like an end-of-life care home. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Good in mind. But yeah, but we need to touch base. As soon as the album's ready, let me know. We'll do a Jaden Show special and we'll put it out there again. So we are in contact, mate. Did you get me? Can you hear me?
I can. I think I lost you for a moment.
Yeah, I kind of saw a blank expression, so I thought he's not hearing me. So when you get your, okay, we'll start again. So when you get your new double album, when it's all ready, let me know, and we'll do a Jaden Show special, all about it.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
So
maybe you'll be on it.
Yeah, well, I'll be on the next one.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll give you a bit of time to recoup.
Thank you.
All right, mate. Lovely to meet you. Take care, and we are in touch.
All right.
See you later, bud. Bye-bye. What a super guy. I'm sure you love him and you're just about to go and check him out on all of his social media platforms. Please show that brother some love and support. Go and share, like, comment, subscribe. Just go and be present on his platforms. That'd be wonderful. Don't forget, you can also find his music on all major download and streaming sites, including SoundCloud. So if you've got a SoundCloud membership, go and follow that brother as well. Thank you so much, Xico, for being part of my show. Thank you so much, you lovely people at home, for joining me again, allowing Xico and I into your personal space this Sunday afternoon. I'm already looking forward to seeing you again next Sunday with another Jaden Show incredibly special guest. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with another song by Xico. It's called Dorothy. I hope you come and follow me on my social media platforms as well. Hope you comment, hope you share this, hope you subscribe to this channel, and I will see you again next Sunday on the Jaden Show. You take care, stay beautiful. Bye-bye.